All right, now my horror film fans, my Scream fans. So this movie budgeted $24 million. At the box office, they hit 140 million, so that's good. Rotten Tomatoes gave it a 76%. Internet Movie Database gave it a 63%. Slant Magazine only gave it a 50%. And the average rating amongst Google audiences is 68%. Now, obviously you know how it works with the Google reviews. They do 1 to 5 stars. And there was here's a 1 star that kind of caught my attention. And let me go through this here. So let's start here. The person who did the 1 star said, "Now listen, the movie isn't terrible or not interesting. I am just not all for new generation transitions and new chapters. I'll explain. I absolutely was disappointed that the only thing we saw from Dewey and Sydney was a phone call conversation. Are you kidding me?" Well, again, so I guess by now I could say this because enough time has passed, so forgive me if I'm spoiling it a bit. Dewey was actually killed in the middle of the movie, which disappointed many fans. It's okay. It's like, okay, we didn't think they were going to kill Dewey. He was played by David Arquette. I'm sure if that didn't happen, that there probably would have been more interaction between the two, in person, just like there was in Scream 4 and the other Screams. This person also continued with, and the last Dewey and Gale moment was a depressing argument. And why would they do OGs that dirty? It says two. I think it's supposed to say do. Literally, the whole movie was based off of new teens being attacked by Ghostface. Literally, that makes absolutely no sense. The whole point of Scream is people relating to Sydney getting revenge on her by killing her friends and eventually trying to kill Sydney. Tell me how Scream 5 has any relation to that. Sydney was hardly in the movie, and you cannot just replace her with this other chick and say she's the new leading lady. I don't know if that's what they were trying to do, but okay. It absolutely breaks my heart apart that everyone is obsessing over this movie and forgetting the original. Nothing will ever replace the OG. I really hope that Scream 6 focuses on Sydney and her open life with her husband and her beautiful character kids. Okay, well, I'm sorry to disappoint you, but it's already been confirmed that Sydney is not going to be in Scream 6. Nev Campbell had stated that. There's other stuff going on. I guess we don't know all of the exact details of why she's not going to do the movie, but okay, so that's not going to happen. So that's out the window. I really hope no, I absolutely cannot be any more disappointed that they left the Sydney storyline and started a new chapter with these new teen chicks. I'd be down to see where Sydney goes in her future life rather than see these new generation of kids. FYI, I'm 14 and not like a 90s baby. I do not stand to be anywhere in the stages of hating reboots or anything. I just do not see the point of ending Sydney's progress of getting older and wiser. And after 25 years, you just end her life and restart with someone else. Okay, well, hold on. First of all, and then he ended with, my point is, I really hope if the creators are reading this, is to please add more of Sydney's life in the upcoming film. Okay, here's the problem with that. First of all, I think there's a little bit of a problem with the wording, and some people could interpret it the wrong way or the right way. It says right here, ending Sydney's progress of getting older, you just end her life and restart with... First of all, when you say end her life, that makes it sound like she died, which that wasn't the case. She continued to survive. Courtney Cox's character, Gale Weathers, survived. There are many others survived in the movie. Melissa Barrera's character, Sam, and Tara, played by Jenna Ortega, they all survived. So, I mean, So here are some of the better reviews on it. Absolutely loved it. Intense the whole way through. Yes, it was. I've been watching horror since I was 5. I ain't been watching horror films that early. And considering I don't get scared hardly ever, which this movie made me jump a couple times, was brilliant. Recommended to everyone. They brought back my favorite Scream Queen, Nev Campbell, who I got to meet at a horror convention in Hunt Valley, Maryland a couple years ago. She's an amazingly talented actress, and I'll always be a fan of hers. Would love to meet her again. Also, to see Courtney Cox as Gale Weathers was amazing, too. It stayed true to the original while adding in new stuff, plus the delicious Dylan Minnette just made it that much better. Absolutely amazing all around. Okay, well, all right, just so you know, that didn't come from me. But Wes Craven would be proud. The main characters are more developed than arguably any of the other Scream sequels in the new of modern horror. So And I personally think if I had to rate the movie on 1 to 10, I would give it. I think I can give it a 9. I think I can give it that. For sure, no less than an 8, because I think that. I think that maybe there could have been more face-to-face interaction between Sydney and Dewey, but again, I mean, that's the thing about these type of movies. I mean, they take all types of twists and turns. We were introduced to many other characters. You had Liv, you had Mindy, Amber, a few others. So you had Sam and Tara. And I just think that, to me, like I said, I think it was pretty good. And I think that the Scream series continues to do. I think it deserves to do another movie, and I think we should give it a chance. I know I am. Scream 6 comes out March 10th. I'm going to be there opening weekend. This person said, I don't really understand the bad reviews. It's a slasher movie. It's not going to be the best movie you've ever seen, so you get what you expect. It was much better than my expectations, though. I loved how there was a comedy aspect in there like in Scream 4, but they didn't overdo it. There was a lot of gore, obviously, but it wasn't horrible. A few of the deaths were a little unrealistic, but that's a slasher film for you. Don't know how anyone can survive like 20 stab wounds all over their body, but yeah, that's true. The beginning was also great. It captured the same feel of the original Scream's opening scene by making it incredibly modern day and perfectly captured Gen Z at its finest in Tara's character. I highly recommend watching this if you just want a stupid but well-written slasher film. It also takes shots at other Scream movies too, which I thought was funny. Now for the kind of spoiler part. So I liked how it hinted at a specific common twist throughout the movie, which almost made me doubt my original stance on who the killer was. Obviously, the ending was predictable, but the movie did a good job on swaying your opinion. It also brought back old characters, if you were wondering at all. So, I think that this movie, I think it was a great job. I think they did a great job on the movie. Let's check some of the other stuff about it. Common Sense Media. See what we get here. Scream 6, Common Sense Media. Were there any positive messages in the movie? Well, somewhat unexpectedly, primary takeaway is that glorifying violence only brings about more violence. In earlier movies, Gail gained fame by publishing books about the murders. Here she decides to keep the story to herself and let it die on its own without inspiring any more copycats. And see here, it has the option to rate that 1 out of 5, and apparently that was rated a 1. So, I mean, I guess I can kind of see that. As far as positive role models in the movie, this was 3 out of 5. Sidney Prescott is a pretty decent role model for a horror hero. She's more than the traditional final girl. She's a true survivor, tough with sharp instincts, but she hasn't closed herself off either. She still has room for in her heart for her kids and friends. She does rely a little too heavily on firearms. Gail has overcome her earlier backstabbing ways to become an admirable, powerful person. Diverse representations. The 2 new main characters are played by actors with Latino backgrounds, Mexican and Puerto Rican, and main group of friends includes black siblings. Secondary characters includes a Chinese American police officer, and 2 of the 3 legacy characters are women with agency and power. White women. Of course, you already know that. Violence and scariness. Well, it's a slasher film, so of course it's gonna be nothing but violence and scariness. People getting shot, stabbed, choked, thrown off of balconies, burned by fire, drowning, whatever it may be. Of course, that's that. And as far as some other stuff in here, products and purchases, Netflix is mentioned several times, Pizza Hut box visible, blah, blah, blah. It says here, what's the story? In this movie, 25 years after the Ghostface killer first struck, teen Tara Carpenter gets a call from a stranger asking her about her favorite scary movie not long after she's attacked and stabbed. Her estranged older sister Sam and Sam's boyfriend Richie return to Woodsboro to be with her. When the killer attacks again, Sam and Richie seek out the retired Dewey, who reluctantly agrees to help, describing the rules of survival to a group of Tara's friends and adding that the killer is likely one of them. Horror movie buff Mindy explains her theory that this is still a requel. Meanwhile, Sam makes the decision to reveal her dark secret, the likely reason for the new rash of killings. Before long, Gail Weathers and Sidney Prescott arrive in town to hopefully put an end to the killings for good. The question here says, is it any good? In passing the torch to Fresh Blood, this fifth entry in the meta horror series shows that there are still layers of meta-ness to uncover. Fresh scares to experience and wicked fun to be had. Co-directors Matt Bettinelli and Tyler Gillette of the collective Radio Silence and co-writer Guy Busick previously gave us the similarly whip-smart, gory Ready or Not. And they tackle this Scream 5 in that same fashion. They also seem to have been inspired by the late Wes Craven's singular style of filmmaking with his masterful use of interior spaces as the source of nightmares. So, I would recommend watch this movie. It's available on Paramount Plus. Also, you can rent it on YouTube or Amazon. You might end up buying it if you really like it, if you don't have Paramount Plus, but if you do, I suggest watching it on there. Overall, I think it's a pretty great movie. Congratulations to the cast and, Courtney Cox, Neve Campbell, David Arquette, Melissa Barrera, Jenna Ortega, a few others. Congratulations on this movie, making a success, keeping the Scream series alive and well. And I can't wait to see Scream 6 in March. I'm going to be there. Hope you will too.